This week, only on Sex Cells, you are gonna watch Rope and Bondage Domination with the one and only.
I'm freaky, bitch!
Donnell, the first time you did stand-up, do you remember your set?
The first time I did stand-up, I got a standing ovation.
Standing ovation.
Standing ovation.
Oh, I heard you.
Yeah, because I started as a heckler. I used to go to this comedy club, and I would heckle the comedians, and it got so bad that the comedians were afraid to perform, so the club owner, he suggested I go on stage, and of course, you know, most hecklers are people that want to be stand-ups, but they don't have the testicles to do it. And it was a build-up, because people wanted me to graduate from being a heckler to stand-up. They was really supportive of me the first time I went on stage.
How many people were in there, you think?
It was a small comedy club, Comedy Connection at Greenbelt. It probably hold like 125 people. And I started at a time where black comedy was popping, Def Comedy Jam was popping,
yeah.
BET, Comedy Justice, all these shows. So what it did was it created, like, it was turning establishments into comedy clubs. Like the place where we performed, it was a pizzeria. Chris Thomas was doing Rap City at the time. He had a relationship with them. So he said, hey, why don't I bring the cameras down here, do a comedy night? And it flipped from a pizzeria to a comedy club, and one of the only comedy clubs that catered to black comics in DC.
I work in comedy, but I'm not really a comedian. What makes a good comedian? What is a comedian?
The definition of a comedian has changed. And it's changed because of social media, right? When I came up, when you said you were a comedian, it only meant standing flat-foot with a microphone addressing the audience, right? And I had a conversation with this young lady. She was a YouTuber or whatever. She said, I'm a comedian. I was like, let me see some of your stuff. She was like, oh, I got my skits. I'm like, that's not a comedian. She said, yes, it is. And then when I did the research, the definition of a comedian is someone who entertains an audience with humor. So the new definition of comedian, she was right. But I'm from the area of stand-up. It's a difference between being a comedian and stand-up. And then for the most part, the thing that separates, what that can make people comics is your heart and your balls, you know? Because everybody, if you group of friends, people you grew up with, right? There's always one person that you was like, oh, they could have done it. You know, and you might have been that person, everybody knows the story, but it's one person that can really nail the story. That's one thing around your friends, but the separation is if you can do that in front of an audience that's not supportive, you're not having sex with, they're not relatives, can you do that in front of fresh faces where your job is to make them laugh? It's easy for you to be in a funny conversation and have to be funny, but when it's like this, okay, I just paid $30, I just paid so-and-so, make me laugh. That's the difference. The best comics are the ones that, like, I've had shows with people like this, yo, man, it seemed like you just made that up. The biggest part of stand-up is like, how are you gonna make your transition? And the biggest part is transition and segue from one premise to the next premise. And the best people are the ones who can do it flawless.
People always talk about your most famous character, which is Ashy Larry. Had this been before you were doing stand-up? Like, what?
I was actually, the funny thing about the character, Ashy Larry, it wasn't ashy on paper. It was just a guy that wore shorts and he robbed his girl for medicine, money or whatever. And when I was doing the show, if you had an editor take all the times I spoke in that show out of 2.5 years, it'd probably be on a timeline of 10 minutes. So I knew anytime I got a role or a character that I had to really, really make the character explode just on sight.
Yeah.
I had to act the extra stuff because I knew they didn't give me a lot of dialogue. And when I was younger, I used to shoot dice, and my mother knew when I shot dice, I'd come home, she'd be like, you been shooting dice? I said, no, why you say? She said, stop lying to me, look at your knees, they ashy and scraped up, I know you've been down there on that pavement. And then when Dave asked me what I was gonna do, prepare for the role of Ashy Larry, I was like, just take a shower and just dry off. Like, if I was to take my pants off right now, boy, I look 3 shades lighter. I would look like the transformation with Charlemagne's first face and the face that he had. That would be the difference. And please don't cut that. Shout out to the Breakfast Club. I love y'all. Yo, please don't cut that out.